Okay, for notes today, we're going to start looking at inequalities. Okay, and inequalities are exactly the same as equations, except instead of seeing an equal sign, we are going to see an inequality sign. One of the biggest frustration that my students have is getting their inequality sign right. They will do everything else correct, but they will get the inequality sign right or wrong because they can't figure out which direction it should go, or they don't know what it's called. So I cannot stress enough how much I really think it's important that you know what each of these signs actually are. Right? What do we call this one? Greater than. Right? This is less than. This is greater than or equal to. This is less than or equal to. If you do not know what those four things are, make yourself flashcards, make yourself a Quizlet, make yourself something, memorize them. Okay, we need to know what those are. Now, the major thing when we're talking about inequalities is understanding the difference of what we're actually saying. So if I tell you that I have an answer of x equals 2, what does that mean? What does it mean if x equals 2? Right? Exactly what we see. We see a 2, x is 2, it can't be anything else, that's it. There is one possible value for x, and that one possible value is 2. Okay, with inequalities, it's like almost the exact opposite of that. Right? If I say something like x is greater than 2, okay, now the one number that we actually see isn't even something that x can be. Right? This says we need to pick a number that's greater than 2. What's the number that's closest to 2 but still greater than 2?
3.
How about 2.5? Right? You say 2.1, I say 2.01, 2.001, 2.0001, 2.00001, 2.00001. How long can I do that? Forever. Can we ever write down the first number that's greater than 2? No. Right? I could stand here for the rest of my life, though that would be totally pointless, and go 2.000000000000000000000, right? And then right before I die, say 1. Pretty pointless life. But right? You get what I'm saying. Okay? And then someone who lived a little bit longer than me could keep saying zeros, and then they would be closer to 2 than I was. Okay, so this is saying we sort of have this line that we have in mind. We can't touch the line, we can't stand on the line, but we can tiptoe up to that line as close as we possibly want. We can get to as close to 2 as we want, we just can't actually be 2. Okay, this says there are so many possible numbers, we can't even write them all down. This has an infinite amount of answers. Right? So remember when we were talking about solving equations and we were talking about all solutions, and some of you said, wait, but I thought it was infinite solutions? Right? This is where we're talking about an infinite number of solutions. It's not all answers, because is 1 a possible answer? Is 1 greater than 2? No. So it's not all answers, but there are so many answers that we can't write them all down. Okay, and if that wasn't hard enough to grasp, right, we then have this as an option, which which says we have the same infinite list plus one more, if it's possible to add one more to an infinite list. Right? So many numbers that we can't write them down, and then one more. Because here we can include 2 as an answer. Okay, so that says we have a couple options. Option 1, Diego, your homework assignment tonight is to go home and to write down every single number that's greater than 2. How's that homework assignment going to go for you? Terrible. Because Diego is going to be writing for forever. And he's still not going to get it right because he can't possibly write them all down. So instead of actually physically writing down 2.1, 2.11, 2.111, 2.1111, 2.11111, 2.11111, right? Instead of doing that, that doesn't even get us to 2.2, much less 3 or 4 million. Right? Instead of Diego spending all night doing that, instead what we say is, okay, let's represent all of those values. It's impossible to write them all down, but let's represent them. Here we don't need to do any representing because the answer we get is 2. Period. We see it. Here we don't see them all, so we can represent them all. And we do that by graphing. These are the points I tell my students that they should never miss. Okay, so if you're taking a test or in here working in ALEKS or one of your checks here that you'll take in another couple weeks, a week and a half, or whatever, graphing inequalities are the points you should never miss, especially since you can use your notebook. You just need to follow the rules. Okay, the rule says that when we are graphing inequalities, the first thing is that the variable has to be first. So a lot of the times, right, we'll talk about having something like x equals 2 and 2 equaling x being the exact same thing. That's not really a big deal because there's only one possible answer and we see it. It's a little bit of a bigger deal when we're dealing with inequalities. So if we're given an answer that says x is greater than 2, perfect, thumbs up, write the variables first, no problem. However, if we are given a problem that says 3 is less than or equal to y, well, that's bad news. Right? We can't graph that because it does not have the variable first. The good news is it takes a whole whopping half a second to write it with the variable first. Hey, if you want to rewrite this with the variable first, you're just going to swap locations. So the y is going to go first, the 3 is going to go second, and then you're just going to flip the inequality sign. Okay, so the less than is going to become a greater than or equal to. Right, so these switch signs? I don't know what you would say there. These change places, how about that? And then you have to change the sign. Flip. Flip is probably a better word. What English word should I be using here? Change, switch, flip, flip. I don't know, whatever makes sense to you. Make it open the other direction. Are we okay there? Then, if we have greater than or less than, we are going to use an open circle. Right, it'll look kind of like a donut. It's going to have that space left open in the middle. to or less than or equal to, it's going to be a solid circle. Solid line underneath, solid circle when we graph it.
Put an L in the first circle.
Oh, I sure did. Thanks. If we have greater than or equal to, so notice these are both the same direction, right? These are both of my greater than options. We are going to shade right. If we have less than or equal to, we are going to shade left. Okay, so this is the page that you don't want to lose, because then when it comes quiz, assessment, whatever time, you find this page if you forget. Whether it's your final exam, whether it's a knowledge check, whether it's whatever. Okay, the steps don't change, the rules don't change, they're pretty straightforward, you just need to have them. Or memorize them. Okay, so now Diego, when your homework assignment says, okay, go home and write down every number that's greater than 2. Diego doesn't actually have to write them all down. He's just going to make a number line and graph them. A long time ago, someone thought it would be good to always have 0 in the middle. That's a ridiculous statement, because what if you want to graph like 4,000? Are you going to go from 0 to 4,000 on both sides of your number line? No. Okay, so when you graph a number line, in Alex, it's almost always made for you, so I hardly even worry about it in here at all. But if you do it by hand, just make sure you have a number to the left and a number to the right. So you want 3 numbers on your number line. Okay, so the number that we see, we will put in the middle. This is going to seem like a really dumb statement right now, but it will make more sense in a minute. So if we're going this way, we're adding 1. If we're going this way, we're subtracting 1. So if you're not sure what number goes to the right or the left, you can pick up your calculator and add 1 and subtract 1. And then we're just going to follow our rules. So, does this tell us to use an open circle or a solid circle?
Open.
Open. So at 2, I'm going to put an open circle. Class, please do not make me pull my hair out. Sometimes my students make me pull my hair out. This does not count as an open circle. Please don't make it so tiny. I'm like getting out, like, I don't know. Imagine if my class to tell. Okay, on the other hand, I do not need you to do this either. And like, I say this jokingly, but I swear this is what students turn into me. Just make an open circle at 2. In the Alex program, it's a little bit easier because you just click and it's like controlled and I don't have to look at all of your terrible writing. But for real. Okay. Then does this sign tell us to shade to the right or to shade to the left? To the right. If you're not for sure, draw a little line in here that points to the right. Okay, again, this is not shading to the right. That's like shading up. Okay, shade on the number line. On the number line. Okay, this also does not count as shading to the right. Well, Mrs. McKinney, can't you see it? No, I cannot. I'm old. Okay, just make it obvious. And that's your answer? Okay, we should definitely get those points. Should not have any problems there. Okay, let's say we want to graph -4 is greater than or equal to W. Is this in the right form to graph it? No, what do we need to do? Flip it, right? So we're gonna put our W first because we always need our W first. Our number second. And then what are we gonna do with that inequality sign?
Change it to less
All
than.
right, we're gonna flip it. And now we're good to go. Okay, so here's why I made this statement before. If I put -4 here in the middle, what goes here? What goes here? If you're not so good with your negatives, right, they look backwards. You can add one and subtract one and it will tell you what to put. Open circle or filled in circle? Okay, this. I don't know, just to make it a solid circle, right? So fill it in for me. To the right or to the left? To the left. We're okay there? Okay, so here's a weird one. I mean, it's the right direction. I can make a number line.
Oh, that's a fraction.
Yeah, what am I going to do with that fraction? Where the heck am I going to put 7/3? What are you doing, Diego, right now?
I'm about to switch it
To what?
to what's it called? Yeah.
A decimal or a mixed number. Either is fine. And what do you get when you flipped it?
You get 2.3.
What, 2.3 repeating?
Yeah.
Right? Or 2 1/3? Because at this point, you're going to have to approximate. And I'm okay with that. Now, if we had a super detailed number line and we had it broken up into perfect thirds, we could talk about that, but that's not really our standard right now. So let's just agree, right? We can have 2, we can have 3, we can have 1. And 2 1/3 is going to be right about here. Are we okay with that? Just sort of putting it close enough. We're going to change to the right or to the left? Left. My students used to sing when we said that. Apparently that has phased out.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody was saying it.